¿Qué número?
912.
912.
Is that,
912 y suma 12.
okay, everybody ready? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the City of Sweetwater Special Commission meeting. Meeting date Monday, November 28, 2016 at 8 p.m. Commission, it is now 8:04. Commission Chambers, 500 Southwest 109 Avenue. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Clerk will note all members present.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oremos, let's pray. Dear Lord and good God, we thank you tonight for being here, for your grace, for your love, for your protection. And we thank you also for the many blessings that you grant to this beautiful country. Thank you for our soldiers who put their life every day on the line of duty for keeping our freedom and our liberties. Thank you for those that have fallen, and thank you for those that will come back. We ask you to have mercy with their families, to give them support and a spiritual enlightenment, O Lord, so that they can be strong before any situation. Now we ask you to bless this meeting. We ask you to bless those that are sick in our city, that are ill, and those that have departed. Now stay with us and guide us with your wisdom and your love. In your holy name we pray.
Amen.
May I? And
Yes, sir.
all the Cuban people very happy. Muy contentos estamos. I know. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Item 4, any public comments? Nobody? Okay, I just want to say one thing on the public comments real quick, because I got this thing for the griteria. On miércoles 7 de diciembre at 7 p.m. It's by the Los Ranchos parking lot. So everybody, miércoles 7 de diciembre, la gritería, y piden que no falte, que todo el mundo llegue allí a las 7 de la noche.
Plus $35 para ayudar a Violeta.
To the chair,
Yes, sir.
may I say some words?
Yes, sir. Public comment.
Esto es una tradición que ha celebrado la señora Violeta Ocampo por los últimos 37 o 38 años, 37 años. Y siempre la ciudad la ha acomodado junto con la comunidad nicaragüense para que en el parqueo de los ranchos, ahí donde le dicen Holiday Plaza, se reúnen todos y ellos hacen sus cánticos y sus alabanzas como tradición de esta celebración de la gritería. Así que están todos invitados, como decía nuestro presidente y vicealcalde de la comisión, y ahí nos veremos. Muchísimas gracias.
Yes.
I just wanted to remind the city of Sweetwater in reference to the Christmas House program. Call the City Hall, Carmen, Alexis, or Jeffrey to be registered. We have a lot of prizes, cash, restaurant tickets, and a lot of stuff, but you have to be registrado para pertenecer a este programa. El último día para registrarse es el 21, que vamos a salir en toda la ciudad de Sweetwater. Este programa lleva 22 años en la ciudad, lo cual yo me siento muy orgullosa, y le doy muchas gracias a todos los sponsors, porque es dinero de sponsors, no es dinero de los taxes ni de los residentes, de los sponsors que por 22 años me ha estado ayudando. Muchas gracias.
¿Qué día es que van a ver la casa?
El 21 de diciembre. Nos vamos a reunir a las 6 de la tarde aquí en the City of Sweetwater.
Y después pagan una comida muy rica.
Loazo paga.
No.
Okay.
No, soy yo.
Ella.
Okay, nobody else? Thank you. Okay, item 5, an ordinance creating amnesty period, creating a limited exception from civil penalties and liens for building code violations upon a homeowner's compliance with the building code and or additional criteria, providing severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. This is brought by me, and this is the second reading and public hearing. This is a public hearing now. Anybody that wishes to come forward on this item, please do so now. Okay, let the record reflect that nobody's coming forward. The public hearing is now closed on this. I make a motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Yaño and Barreto. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maronio,
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanio,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
President Bergenian.
Yes. Thank you. Got another year to get everything right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 6, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, establishing a temporary early separation incentive program for police officers and providing an effective date. Commissioner Yañez.
I want to make sure that I got the right one. This is my resolution that I believe I presented last meeting, then I'm presenting it again this meeting. In the last meeting, we didn't actually discuss the number of the years. On this resolution, I'm just proposing 3 years of insurance benefits and 3 years of the pension contribution. This is my resolution, and I think traditionally, this is what we have done in the past. So this is my motion for 3 years of health insurance and 3 years of pension contribution.
To the Chair.
Yes, Mayor.
I understand that both Ralph and the Chief have sat down with every single one of the commissioners and have explained the way that this window was poised. And so I really don't understand the questions when they say that they don't understand, they don't have any information. It was a minimum of 15 years of service, and then there were officers that will receive, some will receive a maximum of 7 years of pension contributions. Some of them actually received no insurance benefits because they received their insurance benefits through the military. So it's not something that's set in stone, and in discussion with our attorney Guadra, we made some modifications to the actual ordinance that's there. We sent it in, so hoping that it gets adopted, where it ratifies and it basically just opens the retirement window again for another 30 days.
Okay, I want to be clear on something here. Just so everybody's clear, I'm on the side of saving the city some money, and if we can provide this early separation, and it happens to benefit the officers also, which is the idea, why they would want to take it.
Correct.
But I want to make 100% clear that none of this was approved by the commission, except for that we envisioned through the budget that there was going to be expenses allocated to this and was put in the budget, and that there was going to be a program, but we never decided on the window, the benefits, or what was it, the pension, the benefits, any of that stuff that was done and presented to us as if it's, hey, it's a done deal, they sign a paper, goodbye, they're leaving. And I want to make sure that the officers and everybody knows that it was never approved by the commission, and it's not good if it's not approved by the commission. And that's why we're here today, and we want to make it right. And with that being said, traditionally, it's been 3 years, what most people usually get, somewhere around there. But you also have to remember that this is something that we want to incentivize them to leave and give us the savings that we need. So there has to be, I believe, a little bit of give and take here, because we're trying to save the money. Right now, what the administration has done is that they had made a deal with the 4 officers, but the window, there was no window. So now the window that you're providing from the 1st to the 30th allows for maybe up to 2 other officers, from what I understand in all calculations, that might want to avail of this, which will give us even further savings. So, I mean, I leave it up to the commission and myself, I guess, to come up with a number that's going to be something that they're going to accept. Because if you made it, like, just for example, if you made it 1 and 1, then nobody's going to want to leave, and then we'll never have the savings. You know, so I think that maybe we should go by.
Last time I brought it for discussion, but it didn't happen. I didn't
Right.
mention in how many years.
so I
Right.
left it in blank.
Right.
And, for some reason,
We didn't get to talk.
I didn't get to talk.
Mr. President, I just want to put basically the item in its proper posture, so to make sure that there is nothing confusing about it. At the prior meeting, there was a Scrivener's error in the item, and that's why it was put on this agenda to correct it. And at the same time, Commissioner Yanio, is your item. You also indicated what specific information you wanted in the item relative to the 3 years of health insurance and also the 3 years for of pension contribution. That was the item that was placed on the agenda. I know there were some emails that went back and forth that perhaps, hopefully, that they may have created some confusion. I want to go ahead and try to clear that up. The item that is on the agenda currently before you is Commissioner Yanio's item that provides the 3 and 3. The copy that is before you, I believe it's a proposal, an alternate proposal from administration, in essence, amending the existing item, providing essentially a ratification of sorts of the actions that have already been taking place. As I stated in my email, the item that is before the commission is Commissioner Yanio's items. The options that the commission has available, as far as a decision is concerned, are 4 essentially. You may approve Commissioner Yanio's items as is. You may modify the item, amend it however the commission sees fit. The commission may also go ahead and amend it as administration suggests and recommends, or vote it down. Those are basically the 4 suggestions. I just wanted to make sure that we were all clear on what is exactly on the agenda, and that the item that it's here provided from administration is basically administration's recommendation as to how to proceed on this item, on this issue, and that's where we are. And I'll be happy to answer any questions
Okay,
if the confusion is
yes, I still have
hasn't
one
been
issue.
cleared up.
Because we had spoken about this before, but I want to go into the specifics. If, for example, we can go 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, whatever years everybody wants. But just to be clear, because the mayor is offering what they have done so far, which I have most of the paperwork, but we never received, it's not official that these contracts are legal or any of that nature. So what specifically do we have to do if, let's say, we wanted to do what he recommends?
Through the chair, which is what I discussed with Quadra, it's adopted as amended, which is here, which is ratifying and extending the window another 30 days. One of the discussions that I've had with Quadra, and rather than having to sign things in stone, you've got police officers that opted for, let's say, 5 years of pension contributions, some at 7. You have 2 of the 4 that have already signed that have actually physically opted out of health insurance benefits rather than putting it down on paper, because they have health insurance benefits that they get from the military. So it's really been a give and take negotiation with the police officers, so that it's a win-win. So police officer get winning as well as the city, because otherwise, if you set in stone we're giving health insurance benefits to all, and those 2 police officers we'd be spending health insurance benefits on something that they're not going to take, they're not going to use.
Right, but we're going to have, you got to understand that we have to have a number, or we have to have something so that it's fair for everybody.
Correct.
Because now, for example, you open up that window, and now, just for argument's sake, let's say one of the officers that didn't take it before says, well, I want 7 and 7 too.
Correct.
So now one of the guys
And that's the maximum that he can take, but he can also opt out of health
right, so
insurance.
now one of
or-
the officers maybe that had 4 years says, hey, I want 7 too. If everybody's going to get it, I want it too. So that causes that kind of issue. And I really don't want to be blunt about it, I really don't want to approve something that was done wrong. But I have no problem with the numbers that we were given and what they took, because some of them took 7, but some of them took none. So it equals out to maybe
Correct.
3.5 years, which I can live with. But
Correct.
we have to have something, I believe, in writing so that we can put into this actual resolution that the commissioner came up with.
It's a there's 3 elements, which were really 2 elements. It's a minimum of 15 years of service and maximum of 7 years of pension and or insurance contribution. And that's individually negotiated with them, because you've got, let's say, officers who, let's say, if they're 6 years old and they're going to retire and they start receiving Medicare at 62, they're only going to request for insurance for 2 years.
Right, but if now the person that, we open up the window from December 1st to the 30th, we come into a problem where the person that had 4 now wants 7, for example.
No, they were given whatever they requested. You got 2 police
Yeah,
officers
but
here
then
that
the
are in the
numbers don't
audience.
match, because if now, it's nice to give everybody 7, but then it won't make sense for us because we might not be making the savings when we have to pay the pension for somebody that's not even here for 7 years versus maybe 0 or 3 or 4. The numbers change substantially, and then it might just break even. Because when I did the math, that's what might happen. So my
No,
concern,
there's no breaking even.
to
There's
this-
always a savings.
To address your concern, Mr. President, I would proffer the following. To the extent that certain negotiations have already taken place, as long as there are exhibits, should the commission decide to go with the administration proposal, accompanying this version should be exhibits that delineate what it's being offered to the individual officers. You know, in other words, with specificity. At that point, I think that cures the issue that you're bringing, because it's basically dealing with the items that have already happened. You are opening the window, and again, there is a cap of 7 and 7, as the mayor stated. So that would also have to be included as well in the item as a ceiling of sorts. That will have to be included in the item as well. And I believe that will take care of the concerns that you're raising. So I'm basically answering your question.
okay. So from here on, my view is there's a savings here, but even more savings if it's less years. But it's each commissioner now can, I guess, speak about or say whatever they like.
To the chair, Mayor Lopez, I think that the maximum amount of years that we used to approve in the past for this type of program for early retirement was 3 years with health insurance. And now we are extending this to 7 years?
Correct. When it's been done before, one, it wasn't done as a budget item. It was done mid-year, and quite honestly, if you ask me, it was always done incorrectly because it was always tailored, specifically to allow one person to retire.
Well,
This
it was
time it's
open
been
for
done.
everyone.
Well, no, when it's specific where you put it that, it's got to be somebody that has more than 20 years of service and only one person qualifies, it's being done specifically so one person qualifies. Here was done very fair with everybody, where it was a minimum of 15 years, anybody that's eligible can retire. If we were trying to skirt it so that we make a window so that one person can leave, we didn't do that. We did it so that it's an early retirement incentive program by allowing police officers that are at a higher rate of pay to retire. Even though we're paying the pension contribution and insurance, we're replacing these individuals with police officers at a lower rate and thus saving money. When the numbers were presented to all the commissioners, when you sat down with the chief and my chief of staff, the proposed savings the first year is about $180,000. The second year it goes up, third year it goes up. By year 5, it's a savings of about $500,000.
Okay. You done, sir? Commissioner Lee?
Yes. 7 years is a long period of time, I think. But
Is there a number that you would,
May I say something?
wait, Commissioner Suarez?
I believe that 7 years is a long time. It's a long period of time.
But the numbers, the numbers is what counts, I think.
The numbers are what count, which is what was negotiated. This was not negotiated with 3 years, because had you negotiated with 3 years, there wouldn't have been one single police officer that would have taken this window.
Okay, Commissioner Suarez?
Yes, Mayor, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
About the administration proposal. I see the ratification paragraph here. I see the qualifying 15 years minimum of employment. And I see a paragraph number 3 offering health insurance benefits on terms to be determined between the prospective retiree and the administration in consultation with the city attorney. But it doesn't say your proposal. It doesn't say with the cap of 7 years. It is wide open. It could be whatever.
No, sir, because no police officer was offered any more than 7 years of health or pension. It's just not put there because, as I was saying before, if you say you're going to get 7 and 7, let's say police officers that opted out of health insurance because they have qualifying health insurance through military would say, give it to me because it's in writing. You know, this was a negotiation that was done individually with each one. You can take it, but they opted out of it to save the city money.
Okay, you said.
This was not the city not offering it to them. They were all offered the same. It was them opting not to take it to
I
offer it.
understand, but we have to put in writing, in paper, that's what my question was. That everybody's getting the same opportunity.
You
number one.
can amend it there
And-
to a maximum of 7 and 7, which is what I said earlier.
I understand, but then if it's 7 and 7, I have a big problem if everybody takes it. You know, so there's that issue that he's bringing up, because if you don't have it in writing, and you don't put it in the resolution, whatever we approve today,
Again, like I'm saying, this one, which is an amended version of the one that's on there, this one can also get amended in that very same paragraph to say to a maximum of 7 years of pension and 7 years of insurance.
Right, my problem
You know,
with
upon
that-
negotiation with the individual retiree.
at least me, the whole deal's off if we're going back to October 1st. I don't like things that were done wrong and illegally and try to shove down our throat, to be frank. If we're gonna do it, I'm for it, but let's do it right. So I don't wanna go back to something else.
I have one more. We're talking about your proposal, 7 and 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we already discussed health insurance in your proposal.
Right.
Which you want to have it wide open.
Now, wide open.
With a maximum of 7.
Correct.
Which is established by you, but it's not in the resolution. And I understand what you say. If you put it in an agreement, then everybody wants 7, the maximum. The other one is the second 7. There is nothing here related to the pension
Contribution.
contribution for
Correct.
7 years. It doesn't say anything. Why?
As I said, again, there were officers that opted out for 5, for less, because they didn't need as many.
No, but you could have addressed it the same way you addressed the health insurance, that you didn't put a number to it. You could have said there will be a retirement option without a number, without a number of years. It's just completely
That's-
absent.
I'm glad you actually caught that, because that's a mistake. Because it
It's-
has to make reference
it's
to.
just not here at all.
Correct. No, I'm glad you actually caught it, because that's a mistake. It's not in there.
We have the ratification, we have the 15 years, we have the health insurance, we don't have anything on the retirement.
Yeah, nothing on the pension. You're absolutely correct. No, I'm glad you caught it, because
Okay.
That
has to be-
Commissioner, that's actually what I was referring to just a little while ago. That in answering President Bernian's question, with the specific to the concern that he raised, if you do a cap of 7 years for both health insurance and pension, that has to be included herein. You can also amend this item to reflect exhibits depicting specifically what has been provided, so that you have specificity in the action that you're ratifying if the commission chooses to go that route. That is my recommendation to go ahead and make sure that, you know, your concern is addressed as far as people that perhaps receive 4 years now don't say, okay, now, you know, go to the 7, because it's basically spelled out specifically in the exhibits therein, the resolution.
And to be clear, the item that we're talking about is Commissioner Yaño's resolution, not the one that they're trying to stick in, like if that's the new one, you know?
Yeah, I know that, but the Commissioner Yanio addresses everything, but is limited to 3 and 3.
Right.
That's different from the administration, and the administration have no address at all to the retirement. So I know Commissioner Yanio is the one that is in the agenda.
Okay. You'd like to say something? If you can give your name and record, and address for the record, please?
Yeah, Domingo Benito, 500 Southwest 109th Avenue, 28 years of service. The only thing I want to say is I'm one of the ones retiring from the police department, and the contract that I have, it was 3 years pension and 7 years insurance. But what you need to know is that I have more than 1,000 hours of sick time. That I won't take that with me. I will lose more than 900 hours, and I will leave it here in the city with the money. Also, vacation time is the same thing. I only take 180 hours, and I got 200 plus more hours. And the deal was that I wouldn't take that money, and I'm a police lieutenant. I'm not a police sergeant. A police sergeant, you have to go through a PBA, which is 300 hours that you retire, you take 300 hours sick time, and you take 180 hours of vacation. As a police lieutenant, I could come up and say, I want my vacation time because it's mine. So that was part of the deal that we made, the buying contract that we have. I take 7 years of insurance, 3 years of pension, and I wouldn't take the rest of the money that the city should pay me. In the past, people are talking about the past. In the past, I know that they gave Chief Figueroa 3 years of insurance, but he took all his sick time. Nobody's talking about that, which God bless him, and he deserved that. Same as Jesse Menocal. And I'm not doing that. Also, when they retired, he wasn't budgeted.
The mayor never paid Jesse for,
Well,
that's a whole nother thing.
okay.
Okay.
Figueroa took the money. God bless him, he deserved it,
Right.
for sure. But, and I want to ask Ms. Janius, why are you bringing this up? I mean, because the city,
I feel that the rest of the other police officers took 3 years, and they served a lot of years just like you do.
it took
So
3
how
years.
How many years for Gator and Menocal? And they were chief of police, which they have a bigger rank.
Well,
And it was given only.
it doesn't say nothing.
Some of them was-
It really doesn't say anything if you're a chief, a lieutenant. I'm administration, so then I should get the whole money that my sick time that the city has. I should get paid for that too. Then but I don't want to go there. My contract was 3 years, 7 years of insurance. I don't know why you're bringing this up after the budget closed 60 days, and I really don't think it's fair. And
Well, I want to be clear about something, if I can interject. And you know how I feel about this. I don't have a problem with it. I've said it 10 times here already. But you need to understand, your contract it's no good. Whatever they told you, whatever you signed, it's no good. So she's trying to make it right. She actually brought a resolution, so hey, let's solve this problem and let's take care of it. I'm sure she's willing to maybe negotiate something, but nobody's giving a number, and everybody's just either one end or the other end. And I would like to see it resolved, and everybody's happy. If we're all making, we saving money, and you guys are getting a good pension, then great.
I think the chief of police show you how much the city's going to gain, because I'm pretty sure the city didn't gain the money that's going to gain. I wouldn't be standing up here today, and I think it's only fair. I mean, yes, I've been here 28 years, and I think it's fair to me what we asked, what it was signed, and I mean that's all I asked for. I mean, the money that I'm going to lose, which is 50 over, that's fine and dandy. That will replace my insurance, and the money can stay here. But going to 3 years just because they gave the last time they gave 3 years, I mean, I don't think that's right. I think it was different time, and thank you.
Mr. President, I just want to make sure that the record is clear on one thing. As the item shows in the whereas clauses, the commission contemplated an early retirement incentive program in the budget. And I think that certain savings were estimated in the adoption of that budget relative to this program. Number two, the narrative in the budget specified in contemplation of this early retirement incentive program that the criteria was 15 years of service. So those are the two items that the commission approved in contemplation of an early retirement incentive program. I have been very consistent in my statements that it is a policy measure to make a determination as to what benefits are going to be provided in consideration of officers retiring early. That issue has not been approved by the commission. I know that there's discussion as to some quote-unquote binding contracts. As per the charter, the only one that can bind the city in a contract is the commission itself, and so those I think should be deemed proposals at this point that the commission may choose to go ahead and basically ratify should you accept the administration's recommendation. I make these statements on the record to make sure that people understand as to what are the issues that the commission has approved and those issues that are pending approval by the commission. The work has been done, obviously, but now the policy decision rests on the commission as to which benefits are going to be providing as consideration for officers retiring early. I just want to make sure that that's on the record.
Okay, before we move forward, let somebody, I would like the commissioners to say what their opinion is so we can get an idea, because I don't want something shoved down the officer's throat or the city's throat without everybody opining on what we might be able to work out something. You have any idea how you would like it, Commissioner Duazo? or-
Let me see where you're wrong for a vote. Let me see where you're wrong.
Now, to the chair, I believe we understand in the late September, and I agree, and everybody is agree. Now, I don't know why we have to change everything.
We didn't agree.
We didn't agree.
Yeah,
You voted on that?
Yeah.
Where did you vote
In
on?
September.
That was for the budget.
No, in September when we have the proposed, I talked to the chief and they explained to me. He don't talk to you guys about that.
Yeah,
Offering?
we didn't vote. We did not vote on a window or what benefits we were going to be giving. We just gave them the money in the budget as we thought might be the money allocated, and that there will be a 15-year service window, and that there was going to be a program. That was it. The benefits, and it has to come back to commission for approval.
Okay, I believe what Yanyo says, nobody wanted to retire. We have to offer something better.
Well, to the chair,
Yes.
that's the reason why last time we left it in black, to be able to discuss. Since nothing have been taking place, that's the reason why I put in, but this is not written in stone. We can discuss them, compromise, or do whatever we have to do. That's what we're all here for. Not only me. This was my proposal, but if it's something that we need to compromise between all of us, I have an idea. That was my
Right.
idea.
I
So
think
I
that
wanted-
Through the chair.
instead of years, we might want to talk numbers. I think it's the most appropriate. It makes sense for the city, money-wise.
I propose a cap of 5 and 5. Or propose 5
Propose.
and 5. Instead of 3 and 3 or 7 and 7. Just split it right through the middle.
To the chair.
And if you,
I've been trying to schedule a meeting with the chief, and I'm extremely busy lately with some obligations that I have from my employment. But I would like to see it, and I probably sit with him this Friday. Can we bring back these numbers, Mayor Lopez, with more specific windows for the amount of money there, but written in the resolution?
it's different for every single officer. As I said before, that there were officers that took less than the 7 years of pension. For example, Benito, he only took 3. He could have said, I want 7, as was the maximum was offered, but I only need 3. So that's why I'm saying that that the easiest thing would be to amend this to put a maximum of 7 and 7 to be negotiated with each retiree, because not every single officer took it. They only took what they needed. You have 2 police officers that opted out of health insurance because they have military coverage. So even though it was a maximum of 7 years of health, they didn't take any.
I understand. They have individual specific
Correct.
situations.
It's a maximum of 7 on one side, a maximum of 7 on the other side, but they weren't taken.
But we need to see those numbers.
Well, the savings by the 4 police officers retiring that have signed is $180,000 this year. Next year, the savings goes up, the following year goes up, the following year goes up. By year 5, we're saving about $500,000.
No, the first year,
Including
we lose
the-
70-something thousand dollars the first year.
Including, excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Including the salaries from the people that you're gonna bring to fill in those positions?
Correct. You've got 4 police officers right now that are part-time officers. The moment that, remember that it's a complex deal because you've got officers leaving and then you've got officers that have filed a grievance. So you got officers that are part-time. So then the difference in the salary is the difference between 29 hours that they're currently working to 40 hours plus benefits. So you're not talking about a full salary of police officer, you're talking about 11 hours additional plus benefits.
My concern, and I just want to explain again, the issue is here, they jumped the gun, they made the deals, they signed it, they thought, hey, we're moving on, we're doing whatever we want. And that's not the case. And now that's formed this problem, Benito. Because now, if we open up the window, I think that more officers are gonna take it. And that changes the numbers, actually, probably in our favor, that will make more savings. But we have to weigh that we have to put it on paper, is what you have to understand.
Yeah, but you won't have too many officers retiring. I mean, if the most you're gonna have retiring, if you open that window, it's gonna be 2 more, because everybody else is new here in the city. So, most 2, and I spoke to one today, and he told me he ain't going nowhere. So maybe 1 guy.
Right.
That's what you're gonna get. And just to tell Mr. Diaz, Commissioner Diaz, what the mayor said, I could have taken 7 and 7, but I didn't want to be greedy, because I only needed 3 more years to
No,
to get to
Benito,
the
you
30.
know,
So-
you know that
no,
I have a
no.
great respect for the police
I know you do.
department, and
I know
I'm
you
a
do.
pro-police
Pero, no, I'm
because
talking-
you protect our city.
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. The 7-7.
I understand.
I could have said, you know what? I want the 7-7. But instead, I said, no. You know what? I need 7 years of insurance. I will not get paid my vacation and my sick time, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, but I will only take 3 of pension, and because I didn't want to be greedy, I didn't want to, and that's why I took it. And here we are.
Okay, I misspoke. What, at least the numbers that they gave us, and as we all know, the finance department is not always perfect. On year 1, we lose $25,000. After that, it's somewhere between 120 to 125,000 over the next 7-8 years that we save. So they're saying it's somewhere around 710. I don't think it gets that high. I think it goes maybe, like the mayor said, maybe 500,000 max. But it's a savings.
But you do understand that once the 4 officers we leave, we retired. The 4 officers that the mayor's saying they're currently part-time officers.
Right.
You only got to pay 11 hours plus
Benefits.
insurance, benefits. That's it. I mean, I don't think you're gonna be losing $25,000 when.
Yeah, that's what the chief gave me here. But it's a first year because of payouts. We have to pay out sick and vacation and those type of things.
Well,
So-
the only thing about PVA, you got to pay 300 and 180. Most of the officers that are retiring, they have burned their time, except me, because I've been here longer
No, sir.
than anybody
They
else.
all have 400 or something hours.
No, but well,
They all do. I looked at them.
there's another example. He has over 1,000 hours of sick time. He's only taking 300.
Right, but the
So
mayor-
he's
the
leaving
mayor
the
wanna
rest.
pay it anyway, Benito, and
But he's leaving.
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean,
Because
he's
done it before.
he's leaving money just like I am.
Right.
You
No,
know,
I
so that.
understand. I understand. I have no problem with this at this moment. I'm just trying to make it a numbers thing. So instead of it being 3 or 4 or 5 years, everybody knows what the savings are. I guess that's why we're here. It's an incentive program for you all to leave, and at the same time, benefit you and benefit the city in savings.
All right, and again, I think there's only one more guy. Like, if you open that window, one person will leave. The other
Right.
one, I don't think is
Right.
leaving. So.
So,
May I meet the president?
yes, sir.
Benito, you don't have another option? 7 and 7.
No.
No have
I-
another
I-
option.
I don't have 7 and 7. I have 3 and 7. Can I say it in Spanish?
Sí.
Duazo. Yo no tengo 7 y
No,
7.
English.
Okay.
English.
Duazo, I don't have 7 and 7. I only requested 3 more years to get to the 30 years, because I've been here 27 and a half, and 7 years of insurance. I take 300 hours of my sick time by PBA contract, 180 for vacation, and the rest, which we're talking about 900 hours, I live to the city. And that's money that I leave here in the city. And Officer Hounshill has more than 1,000 hours, the same thing. He will take 300 hours by PBA contract, and he will the rest. If you summarize that, that's about the money of the insurance that the 7 years, to be honest with you.
You talk to me in different time. I understand what you say.
So just ask.
Like it. But I don't have another option. 7.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Attorney, there is any way that this resolution could be elaborated, specifying, it couldn't be made to specify the plan for each individual officer?
What I mentioned earlier was, if that's the route the commission wants to take, my recommendation is that you plug in here the cap of the 7 and 7 or whatever years you pick, and I would add another section to to the item, basically incorporating by reference exhibits that would delineate what each officer is getting as part of the item. And that way you have the cap in the resolution and basically the specific benefits conferred to each officer as exhibits incorporated therein.
Well, that's my recommendation in this case. I don't know if my colleagues agree that this should be the right way to present it, and so that we don't find surprises at the end of the road.
Right.
So we have to come up with a number.
No.
On
If,
years.
this is my suggestion from what I'm understanding that we legally can do, and it covers. Look, first of all, I want to say, when you start looking at the 7 and 7, there's only 2 people that got the health insurance coverage for 7 years, but 2 got 0. They're not taking insurance. And then we have, as far as the retirement pension, there's 3 years, 7 years, 3 years, and I don't know how much is for. How many years is your pension?
7.
It was offered 7 to 7.
Okay, so his is 7 and 7. I believe it works out with the numbers. It equals out for the zeros that we got, or the 3s that we got, or the 4s. So I think that what we should do is open the window from the 1st to the 31st. We approve today that window and approve the 4 officers that they have already, with us finding somebody come out with a piece of paper or something saying.
Commissioner, do you have the exhibits there with you? Because I know you're
I
reading.
have some. That's what I'm looking
Okay,
for.
because I was texting Ralph to see if he had sent it to Quadra. He had told me he hadn't, but they can be provided, and then, they can be language amended here that they will be attached.
Right.
But, one of the things that I do want to, repeat is what Lieutenant Benito said, was that the officers here they were all offered the same. Nobody was offered any more than the others.
All right.
They were officers that accepted less. Like Benito was saying, that he offered less because he didn't need any more on the pension. He could have taken the 7. He
Right.
didn't need the
Right.
7.
All right.
This was a very friendly negotiation with each police officers, and he even said, listen, I've got 1,000 hours, I'm willing to give them up, I don't care. I want a retirement, I want out.
Yes.
But legally, we have to offer everybody the same thing.
Correct. And everybody
the
was
window
offered the
has to
same
be
thing.
open, and maybe they said, hey, there's no window. The commissioner never did anything, and this is not right.
You can talk to every officer that took this.
I have.
Yeah, well, everybody was offered the same thing. It was no.
Right. But some of them were leery of what they were offered.
And to be honest with you, Lieutenant Ochoa even said it. I don't need the insurance, so I'm not going to take it from the city. Officer De Lara said the same thing.
Right.
I don't need the insurance. I'm going to,
Right.
So everybody worked together
Right.
to come to this number, so everybody could be happy, and the city gains and we gain.
And it saved money too, to make it
And save-
happen.
correct.
Correct, because there were 2 officers that opted completely out of health insurance.
Correct.
So if we can come up with exhibits that would suffice, and then I guess we would have to also amend that we want to, in the window that is offered to whoever else it is available to, will have a maximum of 7 and 7. That's the only thing I can think of, because that's to be fair to everybody. There's only one more person I think might take it. I don't know if they take it.
Yeah.
But then we'd have to come up with something in writing.
No, an agreement, who's commissioner wants
No, it would be
7 and 7.
your resolution.
No, but I'm saying for 3, you're talking about 7. And,
As a maximum, but what we're
Yeah,
gonna,
Commissioner,
but we would.
Juarez said 5 and 5, so everybody have different opinions.
No, but what I'm saying is, if we accept the numbers that they gave us already, okay, by using an exhibit, it'll be a new window, they sign a new contract tomorrow, whenever, and that'll be what we accepted. We only accepted that they get, let's say in Benito's case, 3 years and 7 years. That way he doesn't get 5, he gets 3 and 7.
May I ask something? I mean, isn't it the same thing? Let's suppose that Commissioner Suarez says, well, 5 and 5. Okay, so I say, okay, give me 5 years of insurance, but give me 2 more years of pension.
No, it has to be exact,
But
because the numbers are different,
that's what
everybody's
I'm-
different.
But that's what I'm saying. When they did this, everybody got together and said,
Work
well,
it
you don't
out.
need insurance, and everybody, so the city wouldn't lose and we
What the
wouldn't.
administration should have done is made a resolution, like Commissioner Yaño, and said, look, we've negotiated with the officers, and this is what we're coming in, and this is the plan that we all wanted, let's approve it. But they didn't do that. They just signed a paper, and the paper says, if you sign it, not the city, if you sign it, then it's valid. And it's not, because the commission, and they signed it, and you believed it. So that's what we're trying to prevent, there to be an issue. And it works out, because instead of 5 and 5, it's still gonna be 3 and 7. And some people are
Correct. Some
3
people-
and 0,
Correct.
7 and 0.
Correct.
So it works out.
Correct.
Through the chair. I was,
We don't know yet.
just for the record, I went and I participated on the pension plan meeting. I was there. And Chief of Staff Ventura was there too. When he mentioned it, and I have the minutes, so I can, know that I'm lying, I have the minutes. I asked, he said that they were gonna put together some agreement, contract, so how was gonna be presented to the police officer. I asked if this kind of package was gonna be given to the commissioner. He goes, no, this is the administration, not the commission. So we never had a part of anything. We didn't know what's going on. We just shooting because nobody said anything to us. I was there at the meeting. I was there physically, and I have the minutes. I asked before he even handed over to you,
Yeah,
to the
Ms.
officers.
Commissioner Yanni, I understand that, but that's out of my control. I mean,
No, I know, but
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying
You
that.
gotta understand that
But
what
we
position
did. We did
we're in.
ask, and we want to be part of it.
But the only thing I can tell you is that the way the chief of police did it, the mayor and the administration, was that everybody, some people took the health insurance, other people didn't take the health insurance, so everything.
I'll give you an
Level
example.
it out.
I'll give you an
Correct.
example. Officer Houndshow, if I didn't do homework, you're in blank. All their stuff that they gave me was in blank except for the paper you signed. That was with a pension thing. Like all the information they gave us for each guy, like he makes this much hourly, this much sick, this much whatever. They gave us about 20 sheets of paper and I had to piece it together to find out more or less what you were gonna get and what you were gonna. So that's what we're dealing with. We're trying to do the homework to get it done right. But we're not given that information is what I'm trying to tell you so you understand our position. So it's like if I tell you, hey, I'm retired tomorrow and I got a great deal, see you later. You didn't approve it, we don't know what's going on.
And to recap again, I don't think too many are gonna retire. When you open that window that they wanna open, I
Right.
doubt.
We were not told that, though, what
course.
you're bringing up
They
now.
told you it was all hunky-dory.
This is what we're offering, sign it, get it. We talked to every commissioner, we talked to the mayor, we talked to them, the numbers are good, we're gonna save money, we're gonna save this, this, and that. That's what we were told.
Right.
So obviously we signed.
You lied to you.
Well, I don't think their intention was to lie, but their intention may not have been, it didn't get done properly. So if I come to work on the 1st of December?
What's that?
If I come to work on the 1st of December?
Well, we're trying to get to that now. We're trying to see what we can do. Are you okay with what I stated? Because it's not 7 and 7. It's at least as far as years.
Well, but then, we don't have everything.
We'll have everything specific to what the if we get the exhibits now, the ones that say Benito has 3 and 7, then we approve that for the 4, and then if anybody else wants it, it's a max of 7 and 7. It's only one other person.
Correct.
Yeah, but they would put it on the top of 7 and 7, so we want to.
No. We specifically make amendments to that.
exhibits.
To say that we
They
only
have to
accept the exhibits for the 4
specify.
officers, and anybody else in the window has a maximum of 7 and 7. Even though I don't think they're gonna take it.
Which again, I don't, exactly.
And if they do take it, we save more money.
I think there's gonna be 2.
No.
There's 2 available. I think one of them is not gonna take it.
No.
Yeah, here's,
This one that I have, who's taking, no, the one that says, no, this one, that's the only one that I.
but that's only retirement. Oh, no, the insurance is
Well,
okay.
insurance is there.
But again, they have 5 other officers. They don't have the 4 of the other ones. They have only 3 of them here.
It's 4 retiring.
No, but I'm saying in the paperwork we have, we're trying to
Okay.
come up with an exhibit.
We have 5 here.
Yes, Mr. Guala, but they're not taking it.
Who's not taking it?
There's only 2 more that are eligible.
There's there may be an alternate solution if this is the way the commission wants to go. The resolution could be amended again to to specifically provide for a cap of 7 and 7. That's the ceiling. And that basically the terms negotiated for each person that is choosing to retire early and participate in this program, that all of those will come to the commission for final ratification. That way, you get to see what each and every officer has received. You already heard, I guess, some evidence as to what that may be, but you will get in the form of just a brief resolution. Just go ahead and say, okay, these are the people that are retiring. These are the benefits that are provided that come within the cap of the 7 and 7. Again, some of the negotiations that's already taken place. You will have to do the same for any new people that come in under the new window. And then just go ahead and bring back for, just ratifying that action, and you're done.
But we would have to wait till the end of December 31st?
You can provide for a shorter window if you like.
Chair, that actually, I was about to say that I would cut that window out to the 15th, because you need to try to pay people out. Because when, let's say you got a police officer that leaves, and if they separate, you've got, let's say, their 300 allowable hours, so you can separate them before the end of the fiscal year. Not the end of the fiscal year, but, sorry, the end of the calendar year. Not to have people running and collecting monies into the following year. So you can limit the window rather than 31st to 15th. So it comes back sooner.
To the chair, actually what you're saying is that we will ratify one by one, based on what they're taking?
Right now, if you want to keep the negotiations that have taken place already, as is, what I suggest is you basically, that we take the mayor's recommendation, we incorporate the cap of 7 years health insurance, that's already here. We also incorporate the 7-year pension contribution, and that information regarding the benefits provided to all the participants of that retirement program has to come back to the commission for ratification. That way, whatever happens with all these, whatever already happened with these officers, and what may happen with the officers that did not participate earlier, but that may come into this new window, you will have all of that before you for ratification. And then at that point, you can just give it your blessing, and you're done.
And then what would be a good date, Carmen?
To the chair, let me just
If-
make something
yes.
clear before we move on. Okay, for instance, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, I'm just giving an example.
Sure.
Okay, this police officer is saying 3 and 7, 7 and 0. When we have this with the way for us to do it legally, the service says, okay, no, I want 7 and 7. It won't be unless we
It comes back,
ratify
right.
it.
Frankly, at that point, it comes back, and honestly, if there are any changes, I think those people are going to be taking a risk that it will not be ratified. So I think that you have an incentive there that for things to remain there. Now, I cannot guarantee you that's the way you're going to get it. I don't think the mayor can guarantee you that either. But because there's a subsequent ratification, my idea would be that people really wouldn't want to make any changes if they want this to be ratified, ultimately ratified by the commission.
Otherwise, each one of them will be ratified before the,
All of them will be
Have
ratified.
all the information necessary to make
all of them will
the
be
final
ratified
Will come to the commission for ratification.
for ratification.
That is another way of doing it, since we cannot have the documents ready for.
And Mayor, if I could, what would be great, instead of having to make a meeting with the chief and all the whole works, it's simple. If you can make a one-sheet outline of, look, these are the 5 officers that are gonna go, this is what they get for insurance, this is what they get for health, this is what it's gonna cost us, the general, and then we got the specifics already from before.
And
So
also-
that way, we have it for the meeting, hey, we know exactly what we're gonna be ratifying.
And also to be added, if they're gonna be taking the sick time or not, because it doesn't reflect if they're gonna be sick
Right,
days,
right.
are
If
they
he
gonna
just does
take
a list.
the sick time also? We don't know.
Through the chair, and because I mentioned the part that when police officers retire, they're being substituted by 4 police officers that have filed grievance, because right now they're on a part-time register. The other a grievance that it also satisfies is the fact that the city owes the in-back pension contributions, I hate to give an exact number, but it's somewhere about $1.5 million. And those $1.5 million are paid throughout the 7-year period as well. So it satisfies that as well. That's factored into this as well.
My only concern with that
On Friday the 16th.
is, just like it says on that paper, so it's clear as a bell, so nobody can tell us later on, hey, you guys didn't see it, I wrote it there.
Right.
There's no amount given for promotional. Like, let's say he's a lieutenant, and now you have a sergeant promoted to lieutenant, it's $10,000 more a year. That's not being included. But I think that number is minimal to, if you're gonna have one person more, somebody made lieutenant, let's say, you're not gonna have 10 lieutenants, so it's not gonna make a huge difference after 8 years.
It won't make much difference, because if, let's say if you promote somebody, if you promote a sergeant to a lieutenant, you're looking at a 5% increase in salary, that if you would figure that this person is probably somewhere in the $50,000 to $60,000 range, you give them a 5% raise, you're looking at somewhere between $2,500 to $3,000 a year. There you're talking about pennies.
Right.
You're not talking about...
Okay. I just want to be clear, because that's one of the issues we had here, that if they decide for whatever reason, forget these 5 guys, we're going to put 5 guys and we're going to make them all lieutenants and captains.
You've got people that are coming in that they're the very ones that are on the layoff registry right now. As we keep repeating that right now are employed in the city but are part-time. So once the window exists and the officers retire, they are replaced with these very same part-time officers are changed to full-time status.
And that's in writing too, by the way.
Correct.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
And then those officers that are part-time are gonna be replaced by the officers that you lay off or fire before?
Those are the layoffs.
Okay.
They told me it was going to be Toledo and 4 others.
Is it gonna go by seniority?
Yes, to give you, yes, it is. I saw a lot of people have left the police department to Metro-Dade, to other departments, but the one that stayed here, like Officer Martin, he's gonna get his full-time job. Officer Garcica is gonna get his full-time job. So everything's by seniority.
Toledo too?
I think so too, man.
Okay, so
Sounds like a good plan.
we want to, you want to amend it the way you want Claudia to maybe?
It's amended as we discussed with exhibits.
Let me restate my understanding of the desired amendment. Your existing resolution will be amended to reflect a cap of 7 years for health insurance, a cap of 7 years for pension contribution. It provides for a reduced window for selecting to participate in the program to up until December 15th.
Excuse me, what day is it, 15th? Just
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
Okay.
For the 1st to the 15th.
Correct. From the 1st to the 15th. The amendment also will include that information relative to the benefits provided to those officers desiring to participate in the early retirement program will be brought back to the commission for ratification. And that is your amendment.
Through the chair. Something came to my mind. What about if one of those officers decide to come back to work? What happens? Just say that the mayor wants to make one of those officers deputy chief of police or chief of police.
They can't double dip.
They are already retired. What is?
I have to double check. I think that after retirement, there may be a time frame that they cannot come back.
I
That
got the
time
answer
is
for
about
that.
6 months, or a year, I'm sorry. I can confirm that for you. After 1 year, they would be free to come back into the police department. Nothing in the legislation precludes that.
All right.
That's something that we can look at and amend the day that we ratify. If you want to say, hey, I don't know, 5 years, I don't know, whatever
Then we
legally we
know
gotta do.
what saying.
but no, that's up, excuse me, through the chair, that's up to the the administration, the mayor, if he decides, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah, but you can't leave one day,
and
get
come
paid
back
out,
the
come
next
back the
day,
next day.
absolutely
and-
not.
It's a year.
And then we have to pay pension double for you? No.
No.
Yeah.
No, you will not. If you come back as deputy chief of police, go back to the city, you don't get pension, and I don't think you get insurance. Something. Like that.
We just gotta make sure before we ratify the whole thing. That's a good idea.
Actually, Mr. President, I believe that right now you are setting the benefits parameters. So if that is something you're contemplating, my advice is that it be incorporated here. At the time of ratification, basically, you've already approved the windows, you already approved the cap on benefits. And all, the only action that you would be doing subsequently would be just to ratifying the different packages that officers receive. That limitation, my advice would be to incorporate it here if such a desire exists. That probably would be more appropriate. That way people know ahead of time what the parameters are.
Can we amend it to say the officer cannot come back for 7 years?
Through the chair.
Is that legal? Is PBA and everything
Maybe
else?
it's not.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
That language of the year, where is it? Is that by resolution or is that in the PBA contract?
I'm not sure. I spoke about it with somebody else the other day, and they told me, yeah, you have to wait a year after you retire to come back if you want to come back to the city. So.
I'll
You know,
look
that's something
into
that,
that. I'll look
that's
into
something
that.
that can be visited later, because if it is in the PBA contract, that can actually be.
As a matter of fact, I know somebody that retired and had to wait for a year to go back, and he went back, but he had to wait a year. If it is the same thing with the city or the PBA, I can answer that.
But if we have an agreement with them, like we're doing now, just like we're agreeing for 3 and 7, we can also make an agreement that says, hey, you're gonna take 7 years, you can't come back for 7 years.
I really cannot answer that question right now because I have to look at, I want to make sure that we are not providing limitations that may not be legal in nature. I would have to really look at the authority behind
Yeah, where the
that
language is
specific
written, where
time
the
frame. It may
years.
be, I know that there is language in Florida statutes relative to that.
Yeah.
I just need to make sure that we don't run afoul of anything, of any
Because usually you
of
can
any
be stricter,
issues.
you just can't be, it can't be less, usually you can do more. But can we amend it then when we come back, I guess?
It would be.
We'll have the information by then.
Yes, yes, let me bring you the information by tomorrow. So if action has to be taken before that, we can, before the first.
Okay. You move that?
It's amended. Right?
Okay.
We all the exhibits and everything. That would be as amended with,
As amended, incorporating the 7 year,
Max on
pension
both.
contribution, and that the benefits package for each officer has to come back to the commission for ratification.
To a maximum of.
To a maximum of 7, a cap of 7.
A cap,
Yes,
the word
correct,
cap
cap.
or maximum.
Yeah, when I stated the amendment, yes, it was a cap of 7 on the pension contribution, a cap of 7 years on the health insurance, and again, providing that the benefits conferred to those officers participating in the early retirement program be brought back to the commission for ratification.
so that will be done after the 15th because the deadline is on the 15th.
Correct.
We'll have a meeting after the 15th to ratify the office.
To give the administration ample time to go ahead and do the work that they need to do before the 31st, the commission may think of a meeting on the 16th.
On the 16th. No, either the 16th or the 19th.
Friday.
Friday.
Friday or Monday, the 19th.
I got a question. So,
Monday, I won't be able to be here.
Friday?
You can do it Friday.
Friday?
Friday the 16th?
I have a question. I'm supposed to retire Thursday, so
Take your vacation.
And some of those extra days off, Benito.
Benito, easy, Benito.
Take them, seriously.
Paperwork's been done for the pension.
That's correct.
We're gonna have to contact the pension and tell them not to deposit a check in on December 1st.
They should have done it right. I'm sorry, I'm not being sarcastic, it's just,
No, We didn't do it, it wasn't us, we did it, we just signed it.
Right,
It's what was offered, and
right.
Well, that is the problem. The pension money's gonna be there December 1st on my account, on everybody else's account. I thought, I'm sorry, I thought what you were talking about now is for somebody else that wants to retire coming December 1st to the 15th. That's what I was thinking about now. I mean,
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
It pertains to the entire program because the benefits provided to officers that want to participate, those have not been approved by the commission. So I know there were discussions and there was agreement,
Correct.
but that has not been approved. The commission is approving it now, but in order to do it correctly, we really have to open the window because the commission did not approve what window of time officers will have to come in and participate, so.
Through the chair,
Okay, yes, sir.
Mr. Quadra, when are we going to decide, make a determination on any limitation on the time if any officer wants to come back? Because I believe that if I was in the position of an officer taking the retirement program, I would like to know what the limitation will be to make a decision on whether I do it or don't do it.
Yes, if I want to make sure that I give you the proper answer. If you give me some time right now to try to research and look it up, I'll be happy to do so. I just want to make sure that we don't run afoul of any legal requirements relative to imposing such a limitation.
No, but if you cannot do it right now, what about before December 1st, when the new window opens up? Officers have to make a decision.
Well, the issue is, the issue, Commissioner, is that I don't think we have enough time to meet before December 1st for another meeting to deal on that issue. The issue is timing at this point. Now, what we can do is reduce the window from perhaps from the 7th to the 15th. And that gives me time to look it up, and it gives the commission
From
time
the
to
15th
act.
From the 15th to the 7th.
No, I'm saying from the 7th to the 15th.
1 week.
In other words, it'll be a 1 week period. It will give me time to go ahead and get back to the commission as to what, if anything, can be done, and the commission at that point can take action.
My point is that the officer, I believe, would like to know
Which is what I was
if
saying.
there is going to be any restriction on that before he makes the final decision.
Because it should be part of their consideration
Yeah.
as to whether to participate or not. Absolutely.
Through the chair. Okay, well, let me ask you a question, because I was always under the assumption that, let's say, if you've got an employee that separates and you start receiving pensionable contributions, and has happened many a times in all levels of government, and you go back to the same institution that you retired from, that once you're employed again, that you stop receiving pensionable contributions while you're employed.
Actually, I've known of circumstances, for example, in FRS, with people that retire from FRS, I think FRS is 6 months. They come back after the 6 months and in a different capacity. And basically at that point, they will have to be, they begin a new vesting period.
Right, but I'm saying in the same capacity, because that's what they were asking right now. If you retire as a police officer, you come back as a police officer. I'm assuming that you stop receiving pensionable contributions while you're working as a police officer.
You already earned one pension. You have already earned one pension, you're entitled to that pension. If you don't come back within that time frame, you come back afterwards, it's basically a new employment. You've already earned your pension, and if you are old enough to receive it, or you qualify to receive it, you should continue receiving it.
I personally
I'm going to go ahead and confirm that as well.
Right,
but-
I thought you would stop receiving pensionable benefits, because again, you're contributing toward your pension again, but.
But it will be a new, it will be a new one.
vested.
And you're beginning a new vesting period.
Okay.
So
Okay, so,
if you leave, let's say in 2 years, you're not vested, so you're not going to receive a new pension. It's a new vesting period.
okay, so what we have on the table right now is as amended that you explained. But would we like to amend that then to 7 to 15
The window will be from December 7th to December 15th.
in the amended version? Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Diaz. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Oh, no.
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
Yes. Commissioner Suarez?
Yes,
Commissioner Duazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Yanio,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Maronio,
Yes.
President Berganian.
Yes. Okay,
As amended.
we go to item,
So,
Carmen, a couple of people signed in to speak, but we already had our public comments.
But he wanted to say something, Mr. Mejia wanted to say
Well, but
something.
wait a minute. We already had the public comments. I'm sorry.
So can you reiterate then, because ever since you've been vice mayor, things, I guess, are a bit uncertain with certain things. Can you reiterate, because she's either uncertain or she's not sure on how to reiterate that. What are the rules? I thought you had first
Wait.
public comments.
Okay, I'm
and
gonna
then
make it
you
simple
could
for you.
speak on each item.
Let me make it simple for you. You can't speak now, okay? Unless you want to talk about the next item when the item comes up. We
I
already
wanted
had
to
the
talk
public-
about this item.
The item is already passed.
I know, because you just voted on it, but I had my name on it and you didn't call, which you should have done in the beginning.
No, you're confused. I just got this paper right now as we were all discussing this.
But that's not my fault.
Yes, you came late.
I still signed in.
Okay, you need to sit down, sir. We're moving on.
Okay, very well. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Item 7, a resolution of the mayor and the commission of the city of Sweetwater approving budget amendment number 1 of the city operating budget for fiscal year 2015-2016 and amending the said operating budget of the city of Sweetwater. Mayor.
This is the budget revision number 1, which is the budget cleanup for fiscal year 15-16 that by state statute must be done within 60 days of closing the fiscal year. By doing so, there is a fund transfer from reserves of $688,000 to be able to balance the budget. This was primarily due to shortfalls, as you guys have reviewed it, in red light cameras, as well as the building department. The building department was probably one of the biggest shortfalls. Originally, building department was projected to produce in revenues about $1.2 million, I believe. They only had about in excess of $500,000, so that presented a $700,000 shortfall. But with all the reductions and everything, it only resulted in a $688,000 necessity and transfer from reserves to be able to balance the budget.
Okay. Well, I want to say something. I think what happened here, if you look at the numbers, in the administration clerk's office for legal fees, there was 0 budgeted, and it was $625,000 for legal fees, I guess, from the lawsuit. This has all been paid out to the lawyers?
Not everything's been paid out.
So we paid $625 and there's more?
I believe that there still is outstanding bills. I'm not 100% sure. I would have to verify that for tomorrow, but
So do we have the numbers of what the lawyers did charge? I mean,
I don't have them here.
But total, out of 600,000, I guarantee you, 150 maybe were for our side.
I don't know if you'd like, that can be provided by the finance department what the invoices are, but I don't have those numbers here. Those are not here in the budget.
Well, you signed the check. You should know.
Could you remember what you signed the checks for?
Yes.
I doubt that very much.
Haven't signed too many. Okay.
Through the chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
For the mayor. Mayor, of the first 2 pages, the first one is revenues, and the second one is expenses. I have a problem here on the variance, the last column, with the parentheses on the numbers. Parentheses mean negative, right?
Not in this case. I understand. I asked Annie the same question. I understood that you came to Annie and asked her to.
Good thing that Annie told you. I came here
Correct that.
today
Right, and-
with this question because
Correct.
I was confused with the parentheses, the negative, the positive, the debit, the credit.
Correct.
It doesn't make sense the way, to me, the way it's done here.
The problem is, let's say at the beginning of the budget, in parentheses, you'd reflect, in parentheses would be a deficit. Since this is budget cleanup, your negative numbers are numbers that were never reflected in the budget, which turn out to be positive. So the ones that you're seeing in parentheses that, let's say like the sale of the land, which was $2.8 million, that's not a deficit, that's actually a surplus of monies.
That's what Annie told me, it's a credit.
It's a credit.
And it's still in parentheses, you know?
Correct.
Which is supposed to be negative, debit. It's not very logical.
I know. I remember taking this in accounting when I was in high school, and I would disagree with it too, but correct, that's the way it shows up.
Okay.
It's because it's the expenses. The expenses is the money going out. So if you're placing money because it's the expenses.
That wasn't there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Diaz. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item A, adjournment. Have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Barreto, second by Commissioner Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.